Hello students, welcome to disaster mitigation and management class. Earlier we were discussing about the drought management. In this lecture also we will be discussing briefly about the drought management. Right? The drought management in India. Drought management in India means whenever any natural disasters or man-made disasters occurs, our country will be taking some preventive measures. Under that they will be deciding some management systems. So under that we have one of the management system that is called drought management system. So wherever the in state and wherever the every state they will be having a drought management. So wherever in district that will be, wherever drought occur in any district of that state, that will be carried out by this management system only. So under drought management in India, that will be carried out by the Union Minister of Agriculture, is the nodal ministry in respect of monitoring and managing drought conditions. So natural disaster, you people will be seeing on the road disaster response means disaster response team, what they will be taking all the things, means mitigation process and management system, that all they'll considering, and they will be taking the measures for that one. So measures for that one, under that we have this Union Ministry of Agriculture. Under the drought, you people observe that under the drought the agriculture is playing a major roles. For that also here they have given the Union Ministry of Agriculture is the nodal ministry in respect of monitoring and managing the drought condition. So here they have even carried out the green revolution. Why they are telling here, the vegetation is also playing a major role in whenever the drought occurs. There is no possibility of less possibility of agriculture and vegetation. You people will not be finding a single tree or a greenery in the drought prone areas. So the drought of 1965 to 1967 encouraged the green revolution that has been carried out by the farmers. Next one is the in 1972 drought employment generation programs were developed for the rural poor people. In rural this one, what happened whenever due to the occurrence of this one drought, what happened, the employment has been not there for the farmers. Majorly the farmers, what they have carried drought employment scheme for whoever has lost their employment. So next, present drought management strategy, that is institutional mechanism under the National Disaster Response Fund and State Disaster Response Fund constituted under 2005 Disaster Management Act provide immediate drought relief to the affected people. These people, what they will be have under the drought, I have already told, people will not may not lose their lives, but they will lose their properties and whatever the funds they have. So usually under the drought condition, government will be giving the funds and providing the financial support to those who have been suffering from the drought. So for combating the adverse finance impact of drought, the National Agricultural Insurance Scheme was introduced in 1999 and weather-based crop insurance scheme in 2007. So National Agricultural Insurance Scheme means the drought is not a man-made disaster, it is a natural disaster. It is a natural disaster, so that can't be informing us and that can't be making a disaster. So this will be happening the sudden changes in the environment. So even the government is providing the insurance for whenever this type of natural disasters occurs, and they will lose if they lose their agricultural lands, at that moment what they will be giving, they will be funding the amount and they will be giving some amount on the basis of their insurance scheme. So next one, the drought management group was constituted to coordinate the effort to deal with the drought in various states. Means the drought management, whatever the management groups were constituted, that coordinate the effort to deal with the drought in various states. Here what they are saying, many many states and many districts, if they get affected with the drought, if our state will not be in a position to deal with that effort, what they will do, they will form a drought management groups. Already will every state will be having a drought management groups, and that will be helping for the different states which have been prone to this drought, right? The national disaster management cell monitors the drought situation in different states, right? At the same time, they say at the same time, if different state gets affected with the drought, at that moment this disaster management system will take the preventive measures for prone areas. So national calamity contingency fund from the state government or the central government deals with the calamities of severe nature, right? So next, drought prone area development program and desert development programs use the plan prepared on the basis of integrated estimation, right? These funds giving to the majorly lost means one agricultural land for the season that give a major profit to the farmers, right? Major profit to the farmers. If they suddenly, if they lose their agricultural land due to some natural disaster occurred, so what the people will be doing, the government will not be giving a complete amount of loss, but they try to give some amount under the what do you say, developed schemes. Research institutions like the International Crops Research Institute for Semi-Arid Tropic Central Arid Zone Research Institute, India Grassland and Fodder Research Institute, the India Council of Forestry Research and Training, etc. are some of the institutes that are involved in the drought management. What they will be doing, these type of institutions, these type of research institutions declare that which type of crop carries this much fund. Means every crop will not be getting the same type of amount. Every farmer will not be growing the same type of uh, what do you say, same type of agricultural land and same type of farming they usually don't carry. Every farmer will be carrying a different this one. Some will be carrying a wheat, some will be carrying a lintel, some will be carrying a cotton, some will be paddy, like this type of things. So each and every agricultural land will be having a different of funds. So Indian Council of Forestry Research, this all will carried out, and this all will declare how much of the drought management or drought funds will be have to given this land, right? Employment generation and social welfare practices. National Mission for Green India aims at improving the quality of forest cover, that is 2.8 million hectare 8 million hectare of degraded lands and enhance livelihood of the people dependent on them. So I told the village people and the tribes, they mostly depend on growing the agricultural land and fruits, this type of, these are their livelihood. If rainfall doesn't occur for many years and years, what the people, what about their livelihood? So these type of, so National Mission for Green India aims at improving the quality of forest cover, means growing the trees and growing the vegetation and growing the greenery, right? Whichever the degraded lands are there, because to enhance their life. Most of the people in India, they don't know nothing but the agriculture, so they can't start the new life by leaving that agriculture behind. So right, for that the people which are completely depend on this, that employment generation and social welfare people will be providing their employment, right? Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Schemes has a strong focus on land, water and forestation activities. So right, land means we have to maintain the land, there maintaining surface and groundwater, whatever the groundwater is presented, that we have to maintain. And the water means what, here we have to take the consideration the water harvesting system, means collecting the water and storing it some places, and afforestation means the activities which we are doing at present in the forest, that should be stopped, and we have to grow the new trees, right? I remember when Rajshekhar Reddy was there at the Shamshabad, they have planted the trees around the 2000 or some around lakhs of trees by taking the school children's, with the help of the school children's at the time of Rajshekhar Reddy. They have planted many trees around the Shamshabad. So that was the part of Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. Under that they have planted the n number of trees for the future of Integrated Watershed Management Program has targeted development of 75 million hectares of rain-fed or degraded area in phased manner during 2007 to 2027. This type of how the watershed management will take, under that how many things we will get. Under that you will be having a water management system, and what is on watershed management, or watershed management, under that you will be having a groundwater management system. So that is the very vast area. If we go for that, that is all completely comes under the civil department. So in that they have given under the integrated watershed management program has targeted development of 75 million hectares of rain-fed and degraded area in phase manner during 2007 to 2027, right? It's a span of 20 years. India's draft national water policy addresses issues such as water scarcity. Water scarcity means availability of water in a small percentage that even can't fulfill the total area's requirement, inequities in its distribution, and the lack of planning, management and use of water resources. So this will be carried out by the national water policy. So in that what they are saying, lack of planning while distributing the water to the household purposes or the agricultural purposes, that has to be managed. And whatever the water we are getting, whatever the water resources are there, how that can be used and that can be supplied to the people, right? Other programs include National Watershed Development Project for rain-fed areas, like National next one is National Food Security Mission. Next one is National Horticulture Mission, Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, National Mission on Micro Irrigation. So right, next one is the community participation. Community participations are only a local one. There will be having like Gram Sabha, Panchayat recommends relief works, district and block level committees are involved in sanctioning and monitoring of relief works, and NGOs plays a significant role in training and motivation. So when recently the first has occurred, our CM relief fund, from the CM relief fund we have got some amount, those who have been affected from the flood. I hope you people all know this one. So right, this I will be asking in your internal question. Please kindly note down this slide. Under the Gram Sabha or Panchayat recommends relief work, district and block level committees are involved in sanctioning and monitoring of relief works, and NGO plays a significant role in training and motivation. So most of the people, what they lose their hope whenever they lost their property, and whenever they feel whatever the hard work they have, whatever the effort they have kept, that has completely ruined, and they have nothing to do now. So what they will be feeling, they will be feeling depressed, and they hopelessly what they will be do, they will be committing a suicide. So at that moment what they will do, NGOs, what they will train them and they will motivate in employment generation, that one. Right, next one, operation of drought early warning system. EWS has two components. EWS is nothing but early warning system. Under that you have a two components, one is drought forecasting and drought monitoring. So what is the forecasting means, and we will be predicting that in the future, we will be predicting and we will be warning the public about the occurrence of drought. But drought is not a one day process. Drought is a very lengthiest process, because drought comes when the rainfall, the average rainfall does not occur for months and years. Then only the drought will occur. The IMD, right, International Management System, and National Center for Medium Range Weather Forecasting offer meteorological information support for drought preparedness and early warnings. So early warnings can prepare the people to migrate. Early warnings and preparedness is nothing but they prepare the what do you say, farmers mind, and they'll tell them that you kindly make a mitigation process or the migration process in advance to avoid the this one drought losses. So for drought monitoring, the National Agriculture Drought Assessment and Monitoring System projects provide near real-time information and prevalence or and the severity level and persistence of agricultural drought. So here the severity level, why they are saying means, the severity level may not lead to the loss of human life, but it may lead to the loss of the efforts which have kept by the farmer and loss of their livelihood. That all will occur whenever the agricultural drought will occur. Right, here the conclusion is need to emphasize more on environment conservation and managements, like using modern technology for rainwater harvesting. So for rainwater harvesting nowadays, it is playing a major role in a metropolitan cities also. Most of the commercial buildings and the residential buildings are getting permission from the GHMC if they are showing the rainwater harvesting pits only. Right, groundwater recharge, I told you groundwater recharge. By groundwater recharge, what happens, the water table depletion will stop and it starts enhancing its level. Right, next one is a water conservation at basin or a micro level. Need to enhance capacity of the building. So right, drought safety tips, do's and don'ts: never pour water down the drain, use it to water your indoor plants or garden. Right, so why they are saying this, use it to water your indoor plants and garden, so that enhance the moisture content in your soil and it improves the groundwater recharge. So next one is repair dripping taps by replacing washers, check all plumbing for leaks and get them repaired. Choose appliances that are more energy and water efficient. Right, next one is the plant drought tolerant grasses, shrubs and trees. Mostly our government people also concentrate on the growing of plants. So what that when we continuously give water to them, that water will percolate under the groundwater. How much water that will the percentage of water will be taken by the plants and that will be percolated into the ground floor, underground, that improves the water table level. Install irrigation devices which are most water efficient for each use, such as micro and drip irrigation. So right, considering implementing rainwater harvesting wherever it is suitable, avoid flushing the toilet unnecessarily, avoid letting the water run away while brushing your teeth, washing your face or shaving. These are all things why we are considering means to save the water and protect our land from the global warming. And in future we may not get that facility of water if we use water unnecessarily now. So we have to save the water for the future for avoiding the disasters. So next, till now we have studied about the flood, we have studied briefly about the flood, and we have studied about the drought. Now we will study about the cyclone. So here you can see the picture here clear. The cyclone will occur in middle of the sudden environmental change. In that, what happened, it will form circularly, and in addition to the air, it destroys the city. Due to that, what happened, the heavy rainfall will occur. Right here in the picture you can see it clearly, right, the form of the cyclone. So see here we can study the case study which happened recently in the Vizag, that is Hudhud ravages in Vizag October 12, 2014. I will show you this video. I will show flood video, drought video, and this video, right. We will study the, right, here the cyclone Hudhud battered Visakhapatnam, that is also called as Vizag, Srikakulam and Vijayanagaram districts in Andhra Pradesh. 2 died after the trees fell on them. 1 was killed when a compound wall was collapsed in Visakhapatnam and Srikakulam district respectively. Wind damaged electrical poles and mobile towers, affecting power supply and communication in the region. So right here you people can see how the rainfall is forming and how the wind is ranging here, right. Wind stormed at 180 to 190 km per hour, and torrential rains hit the coastal district, uprooted trees, torn and scattered flex boards and pieces of rooftops lying on roads. Visakhapatnam looked devastated. So complete cutoff in power and communication facilities. Authorities that had stopped the supply of electricity to avoid electrocution. So this type of, whenever the heavy rainfall occurs, we need to stop the supply of electricity, or else it will leads to the major disaster. You people can see how the water has been stored and how the wind is ranging in this picture, right. See here. So Visakhapatnam and Gangavaram ports are paralyzed, while the outdoor harbour ships at Visakhapatnam have been shifted to deep sea. Gangavaram port has suspended port operations and ships have been shifted to anchorage. Over 550 of 600 mechanized boats at the Visakhapatnam fishing harbour have returned to the anchorage. The 50 boats that had gone to Odisha have been asked to stay put at Paradip port, right. Heavy to very heavy rainfall for 4 days, floods in the low-lying areas leading to the destruction of crops. Authorities have evacuated more than 300,000 people to the safer places by, and 40,000 in relief camps. So here there is nothing to explain because this is a case study, right. State administration succeeded in protecting its people through coordinated disaster management efforts and accurate weather forecasting. So I will show the video of Hudhud in our next lecture. The districts had listed 520 villages that would be worst affected by the cyclone. Officials were asked to step in with the execution and relief measures. More than 370 shelters were re-added with the food and medicine to the last month. As many as 45 rescues team of national and state disaster response forces beside the Army, Navy and Coast Guards were on standby for emergencies. Nightfall has not deterred the effort of these teams. So Hudhud was the major. In this picture you can see how the cyclone Hudhud damaged Visakhapatnam airport. Flood water enters the runway. You people can see the scenario of the airport, in Visakhapatnam, right? Also damaged Visakhapatnam airport, snapping the air connectivity, damaged the roof of the airport building, flood water also entered the runway, forcing the authorities to suspend all operations, right? Airport in the past used to get frequently inundated due to heavy rains. In 2005 it was shut for more than 10 days due to flooding. However, the authorities have since taken measures to prevent inundation. Learning to deal with response has not been easy for the state Andhra Pradesh, because this all will occur, this type of severity which occurs in majorly in wherever the majorly occurs in the coastal areas only, like Chennai, like Andhra Pradesh. These are all very near to the coastal regions. So learning to deal with the disaster has not been easy for the state. Andhra Pradesh is extremely vulnerable to cyclone storms, surges and floods. The state faces cyclone of moderate to severe intensity for every 2 to 3 years. Since 1975, the state has faced more than 60 cyclones. As a precautionary measure, the airport authorities has cancelled all the flights to and from the city. The cyclone damaging the facilities, and it may take more it may take more time for restoration of services. Excuse me. Visakhapatnam airport is the biggest domestic and international airport in Andhra Pradesh, right? There the harbor activities will take majorly in at the Visakhapatnam. This one also, I am not talking about the airport, I am talking about the coastal region where harbor activities also take major harbor activities will take over there, right? Next one, the deadliest cyclone that struck the Andhra coast. The deadliest cyclone struck the Andhra coast in November 1997 and killed about 10,000 people, about 250,000 cattle heads perished, 1 million houses were damaged, and 1.35 million hectares of lands with crops were destroyed that year due to this cyclone, right? Cyclone wind equal or exceed gale force minimum of 34 knots, that is 62 km per hour. The low pressure center plus the thunderstorms will give rise to strong winds plus flooding rains. So Meteorological Department of India to classify the low pressure systems in the Bay of Bengal and in the Arabian Sea as adopted by the World Meteorological Organizations, that is WMO are as under types of disturbances in the low pressure areas. This way, whichever the natural disasters will occur that mostly affect the low pressure areas only. Under the low pressure areas you will be having a depression, deep depression, cyclonic storm, severe cyclonic storm, very severe cyclonic storm, super cyclonic storm. Here you can see the how the ranges from this one. Here low pressure areas associated with wind speed in circulation, there you will be having less than 7 knots. Right here you can see the how it is ranges from where the depression that 17 to here the 1 knot is equal to less than 31 km per hour. So here you can see here this one, you can see the ranges over here, right? Next one is cyclonic warning system in India. India Meteorological Department, more than 135 years old. The tropical cyclone warning system, 3 area cyclonic warning system centers has been located at Kolkata, Chennai and Mumbai. 3 cyclone warning centers at Bhubaneswar, Visakhapatnam and Ahmedabad. Entire cyclone warning system is coordinated by the Deputy Director General of Meteorology, Weather Forecasting at Pune, and Deputy Director General of Meteorology at New Delhi. So this is all for today. Thank you, and I'll be giving some assignments based upon our previous videos. So kindly follow all the videos. I request you to maintain the notes. So thank you.